Perfect. We have you now.
Is that working?
That is fantastic. Yep. So I'm going to drop off and let you go. And actually, we have a few questions that came in, guys. So I want to just address this real quick. You can adjust the size of your screen. So if you hover over Sean's screen share, the blue part, you'll see the arrows there. If you click those arrows, it'll adjust it and give you a bar that you can adjust and make the video bigger, smaller, the same size, adjust the size and things like that. So play with that and make it your own. But Sean, take the time away. We'll have some questions after. And
Great. Yeah, I'll make sure we leave some time for questions and carry on. So appreciate the opportunity. So obviously we're all familiar with sort of the stages of recruitment, and at Fountain we work with hundreds of customers around the world. We're actually in more than 50 countries, and last month more than 1 million people applied for a job at one of our customers. And I think we're all familiar with this 7 stages, right? You're going from who are we looking for, doing a lot of prep and prep work in order to make sure we're finding, we're going to tailor the search correctly. Obviously, there's a lot around sourcing. We're going to go through a screening process. We're going to find the right people, do some interview, background checks and documents, and obviously successfully onboarding some great people to our companies. What do we focus on and what do we mean when we talk about high volume recruitment? Basically, we're talking about filling a larger than average number of positions in a really short time frame. So what does that look like on the court for our customers? If you think about, a company that might be opening a new warehouse, right? All of a sudden they go from needing nobody in Phoenix or in Indianapolis or in Philadelphia to needing to hire 150 people in less than a 30-day time frame. Or a company that's expanding geographically, opening new locations in new cities, and needs to start from scratch and find 25 employees in a relatively short time frame in order to either open up one of their new franchise locations or open up a new retail environment or open up a new delivery hub, those kinds of things. Or maybe your business has actually benefited from sort of this this extended work from home period. You've got more business going on, and all of a sudden the customer success team comes and says, we need 15 more customer support reps in order to answer all the emails and all the phone calls. How do you use tactics in order to make sure that you can meet those needs so that those emails from those customers or the deliveries or those food gets made? That's what we're talking about when we talk about high volume recruitment. At Fountain, we spend a lot of time thinking about corporate versus high volume. Obviously, we're all doing the high volume side, but obviously many people are super familiar with the corporate side. If you think about corporate hiring, obviously you've got most of the people who are applying for your job, they're going on LinkedIn, they're and probably sitting in front of a laptop, they're answering emails as their primary communication device, they're filling out long applications, they're going through a multi-step interview process in order to get the job. In the high volume hourly side, we're seeing mobile first. So most of the folks that are applying for jobs at Fountain are applying on their phone. They see a note, maybe they see a billboard, maybe they see something on a truck, maybe they drive by one of these locations, they see a sign, an hour later, they're on their mobile device, they're applying for the job. Typically they are much more likely, and we'll talk about this later in the slides, to be text heavy, meaning they don't really think of email as their primary communication channel. Typically text is their primary communication channel. And obviously there's a big difference in volume. On the corporate side, you might be looking for that one person or that one perfect person to add to your marketing team. On the high volume side, you're looking for 12 workers for your warehouse in order to maybe open a new shift. So that's kind of the difference that we see in our customers. And Fountain is primarily focused on the right hands of this slide, obviously focused on the high volume side of it. One of our customers, Tross Group, just talking about Chick-fil-A here and their franchise locations. You put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's in charge of recruiting the talent team for a Chick-fil-A franchise group or a delivery warehouse logistics business. If you look at these numbers, 10,000 applications in 4 months. And I can assure you They did not get, you know, a linear increase in the number of recruiters in order to process all those applications. You can see the numbers here. This is a really small team, a great team, but still needs to process 10,000 applications in order to get those chicken sandwiches out and those drinks and, you know, milkshakes and everything else out to their customers. And using Fountain, 72% reduction in time to hire, and we'll talk why that's a critical metric, specifically in the world of high volume hourly hiring. Just quickly, a couple of challenges we see, and then hopefully a couple of recommendations that we think will be helpful for our customers and for you know, the recruiting industry writ large. What are the challenges we see in high volume? Really big challenge around time, right? You know, we talked a little bit about hiring 25 people for that, you know, warehouse, right? If you just imagine, you know, one job brings you 250 resumes. If you need to hire 100 people to set up a new warehouse, you could spend days just getting through the first wave of applicants. And the truth is that by the time you get to the end of those applicants, the first applicants have already taken a job somewhere else and are on to their next thing, and you lost the opportunity to hire them. So really important, you know, really big challenge here is you've got a very small recruiting team, maybe 5, maybe 6 people. You've got, as Chick-fil-A saw, 10,000 applications coming in over a period of a few months. How do you process those? Really big challenge to move fast. Second, I promise we'll get to some recommendations to address these challenges. I hope we're not just going to leave you with challenges. Second one is cost per hire. Obviously, we know that the job boards are expensive, especially the ones where you need to keep spending money to keep your job refreshed and at the top. If you're spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in order to recruit one of those customer support reps, you know, your costs can balloon if you're having to hire 10 or 15 or 20 of them. So obviously, really understanding the cost per hire when you're scaling to 10, 50, 100 applicants quickly. Third one that our customers feel is keeping candidates engaged. You know, as we mentioned, these people are applying for the job. They're probably applying on a mobile device. They might be applying to a couple of jobs pretty quickly. Your ability to engage with them is going to be directly correlative to whether or not they're going to make it towards the end of your recruiting process. And that's easy to do maybe if you have 10 marketing manager applicants that you're really excited to meet with, but you've got hundreds of people who are applying for a delivery job or a warehouse job. Keeping those candidates engaged is a massive challenge. You can't write emails or text messages individually to 250 people and expect to, you know, keep your sanity. So another huge challenge in the world of high volume. Lastly is personalizing the candidate experience. You know, when you have this many applicants coming in for these jobs, it's very easy to turn people into metrics. And, you know, I think candidates feel that. They know that. They know when they're just another, you know, number in the database and you're hoping they show up for the first shift of work. And so how do you personalize the candidate experience and make sure that they're just not some statistic? They're not just some number. If you do go down that path of turning these people into numbers, you'll see that, you know, they are just uninterested in working for the company. You know, they'll go find a job at another place that has a higher value on them. So really specific challenges we see across our customers. And interestingly, we see them across languages. You know, at Fountain, we're in 27 languages now, and we see them across countries. So this is as valid whether you're here in the States or maybe if your business is primarily based in Europe or in Asia. These challenges are, you know, I think if we went through our customer base and we surveyed them, these would be up at the top of the challenges. Quickly want to leave with a couple of recommendations that we find successful. And some of these recommendations, they're obviously tailored for people who are sourcing in the hourly space, but they probably have a lot of benefit regardless of where you're, you know, what kind of positions you're sourcing. Our best customers create candidate personas. You know, in the world of hourly and high volume, you know, the turnover is extremely high, as you can imagine, in these delivery jobs in food service and in retail. Knowing the success traits of your best employees, the ones that have been with you for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and then bringing that back into the candidate experience and the applicant experience so that you create these personas. How do I find more Mollys? How do I find more Davids? These personas of people, bringing that into your job descriptions, figuring out what skills you really want. Really, really great tactic that some of our customers are using in order to decrease their cost of hire and increase their speed to hire and fill these important roles for their business. Second one that we're seeing some of the more advanced customers do is create sort of a candidate pool. You've spent money, you've spent time, you attracted somebody, they applied for the job or they expressed interest. Turns out they're maybe not the right person for that role. Or maybe they are, they're only 20 years old and they need to be 21 years old. That person still has a lot of value. And in fact, if you can go back to that 20-year-old in 6 months and say, hey, we know you applied to work for us in December, we've got a new opening, you can apply again. Re-engaging those candidates and keeping that pool just decreases your reliance on third-party sourcing. So building sort of this candidate pool, you can do that with Fountain, you can do that with lots of other tools. Frankly, you can do it with a spreadsheet. There's lots of ways to do it, but building a pool of candidates so that you decrease your need to go out and constantly be finding new candidates. Another really, really great tactic. Third one I hinted at, we just find SMS to be far more successful for reaching people. We find this specifically within the high volume hourly world, but my strong guess is that this also would carry over into the corporate hiring world. People are they've got their smartphone device with them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They respond to that ding on the phone. If you really want to get them from interest in working for you all the way to coming in on their first day, text is a great way to keep them there. Personalizing the applicant experience, we talked a little bit about that in the challenges, not turning them into a metric. So one of the things our customers do a lot is video interviewing. So lots of video prompts, especially now during the COVID times. Taking something that you hear from an applicant, why do they want to work for your company? What are they passionate about? And then carrying that through into your messaging to them really keeps them engaged and make sure that they don't go to maybe one of your competitors or somewhere else. And you're not just competing against the direct competitors, you're competing against everybody else who might want to hire this great applicant. And then last thing, tracking the right metrics. I think a lot of our customers track, the source quantity. So where do I get the most applicants? Obviously, we're always saying, where are you getting the most hires? Where is the quality of the source coming from? Where are you losing applicants, right? If 25% of your applicants drop off at stage, the 4th step in your recruiting process, maybe a good time to evaluate whether that step should be there. And at minimum, maybe we should do an A/B testing and obviously time to hire. So just in summary, we think high volume hiring in high volume recruitment is different than corporate hiring. Having the right tools, makes a huge difference. And then obviously bringing that candidate first approach, it makes all the difference between filling those 100 roles and opening that warehouse and, maybe missing the deadline and having to push things back a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. Again, some of our customers, I know Ryan highlighted a few of them, we're really, really proud of them and we're really thrilled that they work with us and rely on us. And that's a little bit about Fountain, and happy to take some questions.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that. I was trying to find my mute button real quick to unmute myself. All right, we have a couple of questions. Let's see. Will there be a talk track on candidate assessment tools and processes?
Yes, we can definitely provide that. We can send it over. on how to assess and how to talk through that for sure.
Okay. And then I don't know where this question came in, but let's see if we can figure it out. How do you do that with 200 applicants and trying to move fast?
Yeah, it's a great question. So one of the things that our customers do a lot of is, they're using sort of rule-based decision trees. So they're saying something like, if this person applies for the role, let's send a text message to them right away, right? And let's ask them a question. How old are you? If they answer 20, maybe that doesn't work for your company. Let's send them a polite polite thank you. And let's say to them, hey, we'll check back with you when you're able to work for this company or for this role. If they answer 21 or above for this role, let's ask them, where are they located, or are they interested in this? That would be the way to do it. And obviously you keep those automations going throughout the process. So,
Right.
you maybe prompt them with a video question. That's a great one. So
Okay.
processing those 200 applications, you can't do it by hand. You've got to have a rule-based system.
Got it. And so let's do one more question. And just so you probably all see the poll right there on your screen. So we didn't actually see the full demo of the inside. However, go to their website. It's getfountain.com, correct?
That's right.
Get.fountain.com, right? And check it out. It's high volume hiring, and we can share all the information. However, if you want access, just check yes right there. We will get you full access and connect you with Sean or somebody over there to get things moving quickly for you. It's a full 60 days unlimited usage of the tool. So, Sean, last question. Let's see how. Let's take an easy one here. How is Fountain different from a regular ATS?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the core difference for us is, one is in the focus on sort of the hourly high volume space. So, if you think about your typical ATS is built around sort of a resume
Mhm.
and a email. I would argue those are the two primary pieces. Fountain is built not around a resume. In fact, many of our customers don't even require a resume in order to enter the application process, right? So that's not a knockout question, right? And secondly is, you're basically moving to a text first, video first, um, you know, mobile first
Right.
application. Those are kind of core differences between sort of your traditional ATS that might say, you want to work in our warehouse, please send us your resume. The person who's applying to work in the warehouse may not, the best person for that job may not actually have a resume in, Microsoft Word that's updated. That's maybe not the right way to evaluate the person that's going to be best
Mhm.
fulfilling the role inside of a warehouse, or maybe inside of a Chick-fil-A or a Taco Bell.
You keep mentioning Chick-fil-A and Taco Bell, and I don't know about
We're
you
all gonna get
guys,
hungry.
but I know where I live, you can go to any Chick-fil-A next to any other store, and that damn line is wrapped around the block. I don't get it. It's good, but it ain't that good to wait 30 minutes for food. But so Sean, hey, thank you so much. This has been super helpful. And we're gonna get you some poll results over because we have a lot of people here that says, yeah, they want to take a shot at it. So for everyone that's there, we will, or everybody that said that, we'll get all that information to you. And Sean, if we have any other questions we couldn't get to, we'll make sure we get those to you so we can reach out. So check
Excellent.
your
Really
emails and
appreciate it, everybody. Thanks so much.
yeah, same to you. Have a good day, Sean.